Hey everyone, it's Coffee Stitcher. It is Sunday, May the 8th. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. I hope you're celebrating. We'll be going to get frozen yogurt with my mother this afternoon, and then we're doing something later in the month with G2's mom, so, because she's out of town this weekend. How was everyone's week? Good. I hope everyone got off to a great start with Mania. I know I sort of did. But I'll take you through my week's journey soon. I have a little bit of haul. Little tiny bit of haul. And I may have more next week. Let's see, because my birthday, some of the stuff I bought for my birthday hasn't come in yet. Got a little bit of Q&A. Then, of course, Mania. So, we'll start with the little tiny bit of haul. No, we'll do the Q&A, that's my usual. Alright, Shirley Marinaka has both an Oz and Stitchy question. If I could spend one day with an Oz character, who would it be, what would you do, and what questions would you ask? She's really good at asking the hard questions. I'm not sure. Glinda would be one of my first choices. Just because she's really kick-ass in the books. Of course, I would want to go back down and sort of recreate the original journey. But you couldn't do that in a day. I've always loved the Patchwork Girl. She might be fun to hang around with for a day. Of course, Scarecrow or Tin Man. I think TikTok would get on my nerves, as would the Woggle Bug. I don't know. That's a really hard choice. And I don't really have any questions off the top of my head that I would ask any of them. But I don't know. I know I'd want Glinda to let me look through the big book that records everything that goes on in Oz. But I genuinely don't have an answer for that. Alright, and then her Stitch-related question is that she's interested in learning more about perforated paper. Do I have any suggestions? Does it come in various sizes? If you buy it from Brooke Nolan through her Etsy store, they're cut into, I think it's 6x9 pieces, but it normally comes in, I think it's an 8x14. You get 2 in a package. It comes in varying different colors. Antique Brown is the one I've used the most, and Brooke uses that for the base of most of what she does, and then she uses some of the other colors for accent work. But it's very easy to work with. If you have to cut it down, it's very easy to follow because you just cut a straight line through holes. It's pretty durable. The only bad encounter I've had was with the pearl floss, and that was just too much. I don't know, I really like it. If you have to do any fractional stitches, you can't do it on paper, though. So, it's a lot. Some designs you do have to do minor tweaking to, but by and large, most anything can be done on paper. The big thing is you're limited size-wise. I've never seen it bigger than the 8x14. Maybe it's 8x14, maybe 9x12. It's a little bigger than a normal sheet of paper. And so you can't get anything bigger than that. Or at least if you can, I've never found it. And if you can get it, please, somebody let me know. Because I have a couple of things that I think would look really cool on paper. They're just too big. Alright. Aaron Wallace mentioned that I get the cardboard bobbins from my LNS. Well, I used to. And then the shop owner who was ordering them for me died, and the people who worked there had no clue where she was getting them. So through research and the magic of the YouTube, and I forget who it was that pointed me to them, but yarntree.com sells them. They're the ones who make them and they sell them. So, yarntree.com, they come, it's like $2.50 for 25? I don't know, I know I ordered I spent like $25 and got 10 packages, but I don't remember how many were in them. Thank you to everyone who also said, don't be scared of 30. I appreciate that. So far, it's been pretty awesome. Let's see. I didn't have a whole lot of questions this week. Yeah, I guess that was it, question-wise. Ask me questions, people. I like questions. And once again, thanks for all of the birthday wishes. I did start working a little on my rechart on Bookshelf, and I was able to fit in, but I've still got to remove Emily Dickinson, and then I've got to figure out what to replace Sense and Sensibility and Wuthering Heights with. Alright. Well then, I guess it's time to do haul. I'm getting Dropbox open to make this a little easier when I start navigating the regular. First, I went to our local half-price books, and I picked up another cross-stitch and needlework magazine, because I really liked the summer sampler that was on the front. And there was a really cute Victorian tea cottage in it as well. So I picked it up for those. It was 50 cents, so if I never do them. Alright, and then I got the last of my, for now, Dragonfly Lotus threads of the month, which I will indeed miss. But it's a gorgeous set. Okay, so in the Lotus collection, this is Cotswold wool. It's called Swamp Dragon. And then in the Sparkle collection, which is BFL wool, this is Scarlet Fire. Then Scarlet Fire in the Mulberry collection, which is her silks. And Shimmering Scales. So it's a really, really, really pretty collection. So it was a good way to end my run. I will be back once there are more funds available. Which is what it is. I know the last of my Silver Needle, just a little help from my friends kit, was billed this week, so I assume that means it will ship. Or may already be there. I may be getting it this afternoon. I know I'll definitely have it by next week's video, though. Because Thursday I have to go help puppy sit. Alright. So, I guess without further ado, we will start with Mania. So, day one began with the giant Harry Potter sampler from Cloud's Factory. And I try to figure out the best way to show that. Because this is big. Okay. So I got the top corner done. One of the things that Katie and I discussed this week is we're working on some changes. So one of the things I'm definitely going to be doing is doing some tweaks to the border, and I'm actually going to do one more tweak. I'll help when I pull the actual giant Harry Potter up. Don't show the actual chart. There we go. Okay. So, first off, the colors are wrong. But, if you notice, red, gold, yellow, black, blue, black, which should be bronze, green, green. WTF, right? Because Slytherin's colors are green and silver. And then, all of them have this little spot here that's a silver filigree. And it's silver, and then they've got the contrast color here. Well, on Slytherin, that's still silver, but then this is red. So that's all kinds of wrong. So she and I sat there and we hashed over things for a while, and what we came up with is we're instead going to do this still in the contrast color, so on Slytherin it'll be silver. This one we're going to do in a metallic that matches this. So I also still have to go get a bronze and I think it's just a bronze. I think I just need a bronze NPI. I think that's the only color I needed, was a bronze NPI. Yeah, because I've got all the others. Oh, and I need a more yellow than what I'm using for the gold. Or a more goldy gold. Could go either way. Either way, it's going to require a visit to an LNS. So, so this one probably won't come back for a little while, simply because I'm going to need to stock a little bit more. But the changes I made, I used NPI 266 for the red, NPI 135 for the gold, 961 for the sort of gray-silver, and then Petite Treasure Braid, PH01 for the little gold baubles. And then I've also got other colors, but as of now, that's everything that was changed. That's been stitched. So that was day one, and that took forever. That little corner took a while. Alright, so day two was the first of the Stitchy Box kits. This one is My Heart for You. And it's from Keslin's Designs. It was the first, so it was their first kit. Well, I started it and then I worked on it the rest of the week as well. But I finished it, and I finished it into this little shadow box that I got at Michael's. It was a smaller design than I expected it to be. And I'm actually giving it to Mom as part of her Mother's Day gift. But that'll be up to her on what she does, if she wants to add things to the shadow box. So that was day two. So we had a start and a finish. The only real change I made was there were, along the outside, around the top, it was supposed to be French knots, but my French knots were not looking good, so I swapped them for beads. And that's not a fault of the designer, and that was not a change because I thought it sucked. It was because I couldn't make it work. But for those that are really good with French knots, it'd be fine. Okay. Day 3 was the Clouds Factory Scooby-Doo. It's pulling up. So I started with Daphne because she was in the middle. And here it was mostly some color corrective swaps. I did a few design tweaks. This is on 32 Count Haunted by Stephanie. I think. It may actually... as horrible as this is about to sound, it may actually be 36 count. Because it was really, really difficult working with 2 strands. So I'm thinking it may actually be 32 count. But here she is. The changes I made, I put a little French knot in there for her scarf to look like a knot, and then I pointed the ends of the scarf. I also gave her eyelashes, because I like to give eyelashes. Color-wise, I may not have actually changed all that much from what they put in, because the lighter purple was DMC 153, and the purple in her dress is 552, which is what was charted. Her hair, I did 921, and it called for 970, so I did darken the hair some. And then her skin is 754, which is charted. So really the only color I changed, and the green, 470. I used 907 instead for her. So I changed the green in her scarf, and I changed her hair color to deepen it a little bit. Otherwise, I left her intact. So when I go back to this, I figure I'll probably go to the right and do Fred and the Mystery Machine, and then come back and do Velma, Shaggy, and Scooby-Doo. So, those were the changes I made for day 2. This is one of the ones that I will probably go back to not long after Mania's over and I'm caught up on my sals. Alright, day 4. That was Wednesday. Wednesday was a challenging day. Because I hadn't gone to Michael's, I didn't have what I needed to do Beekeeper's Cottage, because I was missing a floss. And so I thought, that's okay, I will bring up something from next week to the front. So I was going to start Worlds We Live In. Didn't have a big enough piece of fabric. So I went, okay, well, I don't have time to shop. So I don't know what I'm going to do. So I stressed about it a little bit all day, whined about it, because we were going to dinner at my grandmother's, and it was not going to work out for me to get to Michael's. So instead, I thought, you know what, I'm going to start Quaker Mermaid when I get home. I was like, I've got the fabric, I'm sure I've got, and based on where I planned to start the chart in the middle, I knew I had the floss. It's like, I could go ahead and get that one started. I was super excited. Got home, took my shower, sat down to size my fabric to figure out where I needed to start. It's a 16.5 by 16.5 inch design on 28 count. They cut me a 17 by 27 inch piece of fabric. So now I have a fabulous piece of fabric to do something else on, and nothing to do Quaker Mermaid. I was just done. I was like, nope, I'm not stitching tonight. I'm done. I'm over it. Whatever. And then I was sick. And so, once I started feeling better the next day, I quickly ran up to Michael's and back. And got what I needed. So I had 2 starts on Thursday. So, instead, day 4 became The Clouds Factory Wizard of Oz. Now, first off, there were some changes made. Oh, right, my phone's on set. Okay, so, character-wise, you've got Scarecrow, Tin Man, Dorothy, Lion, the Wizard, the Wicked Witch, and Glinda. And I think this is one of their earlier designs based on the way some of the characters look. They just aren't quite what I think they would do if they were releasing it now. So, I decided I didn't like the ordering. So what I actually am doing is I switched and I'm putting the Wicked Witch on one side and Glinda on the other. And then starting in that order, it's going to go the Wicked Witch, the Tin Man, the Scarecrow, Dorothy, the Wizard, the Cowardly Lion, and then Glinda. because I'm basing the lineup off of the original souvenir program for when the movie was released back in 1939 from its premiere at Grauman's Chinese. But Dorothy needed a little bit of tweaking. The basket, to me, was clunky, so I just did my usual bits and changes, and I did some color swaps. So for her dress, I went with 800 and ecru. Her skin is 950 because I thought 754 was just too red. Her hair is 801, so it's a little bit darker. The ruby slippers, I actually used the Karen Collection Snow in Fiesta Red. Toto became DMC 37.99. The basket became DMC 436. And here she is. This is on 32 count Ghoulish. It's opalescent, and it's from Under the Sea Fabrics. So there she is. I made her dress checkered. I gave her high heels. I choned the basket down. I gave her some French knots. I added an extra row to her hair. I gave her cheeks and eyelashes. And she has little lazy daisies for her bows. So she's a lot more Garretified than normal. And one of the reasons I added the row to her hair was with the flat top, she kind of looked like, do y'all remember in Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown how there's that one character that's dressed as a ghost? And I think it's supposed to be like a Davy Crockett style hat of sort, but it's like furry, and then it's got the two little things here. That's kind of what I thought she looked like. So I tweaked her. I don't know which direction I'll go next, but this is one I'll probably finish next month. Alright. So then, since I had the fabric, or got the floss, I worked on Beekeeper's Cottage from Elizabeth's Designs. And it was actually, it's a really fun stitch, and it stitches pretty quickly. So this was only about 2 hours worth of work. So I'm almost done with the top of the tree. This is definitely one that will finish up quickly. And that was one of my goals with this year's Mania. Was last year, the ones I started were all big. So I wanted to do a mixture of big and small. So, Beekeeper's Cottage. I didn't do any changes to it. It's on 32 count Autumn by Under the Sea Fabrics. So far there haven't been any changes made. So, and there probably won't be, except maybe because I don't have Cinnabar, and that's the red in the little path to the house, so I may use a different color, but that's going to be about it. Alright, day 6, we got Octopus Garden from Blackbird Designs. So here's the chart. And I'm doing the DMC conversion for it versus the called for General Arts. And I'm doing it on 28 count mint from Fabrics by LJ, and that's where I got. And I did that in the space of about an hour. I didn't have as long Friday to stitch, mostly because I was on my daily one, because I really wanted to try and finish the one for Mom. So, yeah. So this one's going to be probably a really, really quick stitch, too. So, I started it. And then, lastly, yesterday began the Mary Englebright Believe, which is her Santa. And I didn't get very far on it. I really think I only probably spent an hour, maybe an hour and a half. Let's see, I started the very end of Property Brothers. I think, yeah, I only worked about an hour. Mostly because there are so many color changes and blended threads, I was afraid of getting off if I started a second color. So I only did the first color. This is the top. So it's part of his arm. So, And I'll definitely go back to it. So far, there hasn't been any of these that I've started that I've been like, you know what, I just don't like this. So, that's a good sign. Alright, so that was the end of the first week of Mania. So, this time, we'll go through what the second week is. So, today, I will be starting one of my Silver Needle exclusive ones, Potpourri of Stitches from Jeanette Douglas, and I'm going to be doing the specialty stitch version. Okay, we're just going to ignore the low battery thing, but we'll talk fast. So there that is. So I'll start that one today. I'll leave you over here. Alright, tomorrow will be Ink Circles Get Crackin'. And this is on 32 count Misty Rain from Die Stitch Love, and it is with all of the called for Glorianas. Tuesday will be the new Hocus Pocus from Cloud's Factory, and there's the chart. And it is on a special cut of Demeter's Harvest from Die Stitch Love. So that's the 11th. The 12th is Spring Delivery, so that's Wednesday, from Plum Street. It's being done on 11 count, it's being done on 32 count Buttercup from Under the Sea Fabrics. Good lord. There we go. So there's the chart. Alright, the 13th is going to be Worlds We Live In, and it's just on an oatmeal Aida that's still in my bag from Michaels. And I am actually going to be splitting it, and instead of doing it long ways like that, it's going to be 2 columns of 3, because that fit better on the Aida. Alright, that's day 13. Day 14, which is going to be here sooner than I think. I skipped one. Oh, whoops, nope. Somewhere in the list is going to be from Brooks, Pinky the Peppermint Angel, or as I'm calling her, Bernadette Peters. There she is. So, and she's on paper with just the called for DMC. Friday will be Wonderland from Prairie Schooler. And that's being done on Fairy Whispers from Die Stitch Love. And then last but not least, next Sunday, so you'll see this again next Sunday, will be the Teresa Winsler Noah's Ark sampler on just some 28 count even weave. So, there we go. That's this week's plans for Mania. So, there we go. Not really a whole lot else to offer. I'm not doing an Oz item this week. I just didn't have time, so no Oz item this week. But I hope everyone has a fantastic week. Happy Mother's Day again, and I will see you all next week.